Hi, this is my 2022 Ford Expedition, and this car has been in an accident, but the rear hatch was a little bit out of adjustment. It was touching the taillight and the rear bumper on the driver's side just a little bit. And apparently the body shop guys couldn't figure out how to stop it from touching and rubbing. So I decided to take a look at it myself. So let me show you where it was touching. It's a little hard to see, but it wasn't touching here, but you can see it's very close here. Where it was touching was right here, and it was touching right here. And now I've got a little bit of a gap there, everywhere all the way around, so that it's not touching. So that was my goal. I didn't move it very much. So anyway, what I wanted to do was move the tailgate this way, or what I ended up doing was moving it this way. So basically, I wanted to spin this thing around a little bit. I know I had a little bit of clearance down at this end here, and I still have more clearance here than I did on the driver's side. So what I did was, now this is the driver's side. You can see here, here's a hinge, here's the pivot shaft going through here. So I can either try to, and then there's a couple of studs that go into the body here, which you really can't access. But there's a couple of bolts here. And this is a 13 millimeter. So you can loosen these bolts, and then I can pull the hatch rearwards to get all the slack out of this hole. There's not a lot of clearance in the hole for adjustment for this, but you can pull it, so make sure that this hatch is pulled all the way back, and then do the same thing for the passenger side, except push the hatch forward. And that will effectively take the whole hatch and rotate it this way. So I went ahead and did that, and that actually got me some clearance. I didn't have to move it much because I didn't need much here. And then the next thing I did was to adjust the latch here. And this is the little, I'm gonna call it a post, it's really U-shaped, but it's a post that the latch in the hatch actually grabs onto. You can see where it's scuffed the paint off here, where it's trying to grab this thing and hook onto it, holding the hatch down. So, and this thing is just a decorative thing that flips out of the way. So to adjust that, you can actually take this whole panel off. It's just got some spring clips on it. Just reach your hand underneath here and go ahead and pull that up. And the direction is straight up. It's also hooked on this rubber weather stripping. So when you pull it up, you got to get it out from underneath this weather stripping. Now you can pull that off, and then here's your latch. And so now this whole latch is held on by two bolts, and the bolts can be loosened, removed with a T45 Torx bit. And there's two here that we want to take out. And this metal bracket has a couple rubber bumpers on each end that form a V, as I said before. So when the hatch comes down, it actually comes down into this V, and that's what locks it in this way. And then it draws itself down against this. So I wanted to move this over to the right just a little bit. And once again, there's a very close clearance between the bolts and the holes in this bracket. So I went ahead and removed these two bolts, and I had to drill the bracket out slightly to give myself a little bit of room. And then I slid the bracket that way. You might be able to tell that this bolt's closer to this rubber than it is to this one. And that helped ensure that when the hatch comes down, that it stays solid, centered, and away from my taillight. And after you get that adjusted, you get the bolts tightened back up, this panel will snap right back in place. You can use a rubber or some sort of a trim tool and see if you can get that rubber up on top. There, all the way down. And ready to close. Beautiful. So that's how I adjusted my tailgate on my 2022 Ford Expedition. It's probably similar on the 2022s, 23 and 24. Who knows what they did for 25? And it's probably valid for the earlier versions of this generation of Expedition. I can't imagine there's a lot of people that need this information, but if you do, you stumbled across the video that may be helpful to you on how to adjust your hatch or at least pull that little trim piece off your latch. So thanks for watching and good luck to you.